welcome to another edition of Talking Busch. I'm your host, David Pikus. We have guests in the studio. We have Christmas Eve upon us, boys. Football is officially back tomorrow. Gophers taking on New Mexico State, 6 p.m. at the bank. Get excited. John Thompson, you look scary, like you're real focused and ready to go. It looks like you're maybe wearing a team-issued football shirt over there. You are our lone college football player. JUCO, if anything. I've been watching Last Chance U, getting excited for college football to be back. Look at you. Johnny Thompson, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. Doing really good.
Yeah,
How are you guys doing down there?
You really excited? How's the weather?
Oh, beautiful fall weather today. Awesome.
These are the
I'm
days.
pumped.
These are the days at football practice where you just first kind of chilly day. You realize when those pads clack and it hurts just a little bit more that you're loving it. But before we got a couple more guys in studio here. I want to bring in. We have all the way on the left here. We have Matty Train, the commish. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. You know, just trying to keep everybody in line. Feels like a full-time job sometimes, but
Big week for you there. We'll get into that in a minute. We have our first official guest in studio, on camera with us today. We have the transaction maker, Jeff King. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing good, boys. Thanks for having me. It's good to be back. It's been a minute, so I like what you guys have done. I like the setup. Everything looks good.
Sweet. Well, glad to have you in studio tonight. We're going to hop right into it. We had our first use of parliamentary procedure in the league. I'm going to let the commish break that down and kind of chit-chat about it and tell us what happened and where we're going.
all right. So we did get a fifth vote. We still have one outstanding in Trevor. I don't know where he would have landed, but we ended up 5-3 right now, I believe. And 5 is what.
Wait, does your vote count?
No, it's not my vote. Phil is on my side.
Yep.
Grieve is on my side.
Did Grieve vote?
Yeah, he said
Did
he's.
we get an official vote from
So
Grieve?
what are we?
Because I talked to Grieve afterwards, and he was confused as to how you wrote your thing.
Yeah, well, it's the buttons. Nobody got the buttons. But Grieve said early on that he was on my side.
No. He was confused as to what you were saying, though. He wanted to keep it at $1.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
I got text messages.
Ooh, let's call right
See,
now.
this
On
is
the phone.
this is what I fear is that there's some misinformation and misunderstanding throughout the league and what the actual situation is here, because Drew said in one breath, yeah, I don't think that we should have any transaction fee at all, and then in the next breath said, I vote for $1. How does that happen?
He was just really confused as to what.
I think
deal
you
was.
straightened him out to your line of thinking,
Nope.
which may be flawed in my opinion.
Nope. I think you wrote your first story or your first argument was very kind of confusing. That everybody thought that we were not like we were changing from 50, like making it a different dollar amount. But Grieve was agreeing when he said agreeing with the other side because he was saying that it's not going to affect how much money he spends no matter what.
Yes, he said the exact opposite of that. He said the fact that transactions
Yeah,
cost
he
me
said
more
he
money,
wrote-
I will make less transactions.
He wrote the
It's not
he
gonna stop
wrote it
me.
wrong because he was confused as to what you said.
No, I don't. I disagree with that. But I digress. In any case, the votes were enough to keep it at $1. I'm gonna say this right now, as the commissioner of the league, the $1 transactions that is going to decrease over time. We can have this vote. We had this vote, and the league voted the way that it is, and that's fine. We'll keep it $1 for now, but I'll be damned if we're gonna keep Jeff basically funding like 50% of our podcast fund just because it's Jeff's ox being gored rather
Straight
than everybody
cash only.
else's.
Straight
Don't
cash.
tell Jeff what he can and can't do.
No,
If
he can
wants
do
to
whatever he
fund
wants.
This
Yep.
league,
He
he
can do
can
it.
fund this league.
I think
Yeah.
you just
You're not his dad.
Yep.
If he wants to spend $50
Doesn't-
on 50 transactions, let him.
No, see, that's the whole point. Is what I'm about is, it's not right. You guys are basically
Not right
saying,
for what?
If Jeff wants to give us $100, let him.
No.
So yeah, well, Jeff.
If Jeff wants to win,
He's
if
in
it
the
would
room.
cost me $100 to win a Busch League title, I'd do it in a second.
Absolutely.
I
It's
put the
not
money
about
on the table today.
It's not about
Yeah,
the
so
money.
don't stick up for him. He's right next to you.
No.
Good God, man.
Oh my God, you guys are just ridiculous. This is not over.
Straight cash, homie.
This is over for 1 year. It's not over.
Hey,
No,
Jeff,
well, I mean, it all just kind of goes on how we pay it out at the end, because if it's a pot for
You know,
scoring the most points or doing something like that, then it's back to being completely worth it, and it goes back to the winners.
I don't care about. I don't even care about the money or the way that it's distributed. I care about the fact that the player that's playing the game more actively is getting penalized. That's what I care about. Period.
That was the most Goodell thing you could ever say.
Wow. Hey, Jeff.
You don't even like the league anymore. Why don't you just change it up so nobody has fun and we can't even hit?
Exchanging punches over here. I don't feel safe sitting in the middle of this.
I invented that transaction fee. Do you know why?
Yeah, I do, and it's in a red notebook at John's house.
It is somewhere. I'll find it.
The reason I invented that fee was to fund the side game for the divisional play payout.
False.
That's how that started. No, it isn't. That's why I created that fee. The way that it was the very first year was each division winner got 25% of the transactions. That's exactly how that went. And then the transactions got to be so big that I said, wow, that's way too big a payout for a side pot. It's getting bigger than the rest of the payouts. So let's try and use that money for something else.
See?
So then we tried to use it for parties that nobody came to. And then
False. We came to one or two.
You came.
Everybody else came.
No, not everybody came. But no, I
Hey,
mean we haven't had a
everybody
party
showed
with
up with
everybody.
me and Lang at the last one, so.
Yeah,
True.
the last one was good. The last one was good, and we did that
See,
without
so-
league funds, by the way. But
Well, and then
But-
I'm seriously having a Bill O'Reilly moment. Like, I just want to say, fuck it. Fuck it. Let's just do it live.
then I the last year we did the side games as a way to try and use that money, and then within the last year at the spring meetings we talked about how the league wants to help fund some of these extracurriculars, and so it's gone from there. The reason that was invented in the first place was to create a cash flow stream to pay out the divisional winners.
Well, let's pay the fucking divisional winners with it.
But looking back on that now, why should that be Why shouldn't it have just been a higher buy-in to begin with? Why does it make sense as transaction fees rather than a higher buy-in?
Because I think that you thought that at the time it would be a kind of a hindrance on people buying. Well, we started out with 50 cents or whatever.
No, people will claim that it used to be $1 and $1 drop.
It was.
It wasn't.
It was.
Supposed to be.
It
That's
was
what it's supposed to be. That's in the
always-
minutes. We have those
I
minutes.
have it in the notebook.
You guys in your fucking notebook. I would like to see this notebook.
Oh, when I drum it up, I'm going to shove it up your ass.
When you drum it up, you mean when you write it
Oh, no.
out between now and the next time
Do
you
you not
see
remember when
Yeah.
you must have had too much to drink that day? We sat in John's living room, and he had a notebook to write down everything that we discussed in that preseason meeting before we did the draft.
it? Was that the time that we drafted at John's house and then went to St. Martin? Or
San
whatever?
Martin, beautiful little lake country town.
Well, if
Had a
if I
great
did
time.
forget something, you can't blame me for that.
I remember out of date.
I remember out a date to an all dudes weekend.
I think he got a little confused.
Yeah.
All right,
Talking about, yeah.
let's move past it.
so transactions $1
Yes.
for
Can
now.
I ask a question
Total.
real quick?
For
Just
now.
one question.
Yeah,
Well,
Just
for the
one
whole
question.
year.
for the year. Yep.
Actually, two. Hey,
Yes.
Jeff, do you like money?
Yes, sir.
Jeff, do you like money?
How could you not?
Dave, do you like money?
Straight cash, homie.
I love money. More money. I want more money. I want money to go towards everything. Don't take that away from me, Commissioner. I want money to go towards winning the division, winning side games, winning the whole goddamn thing. Don't punish me for wanting
We
more
just
money.
tripled the buy-in.
Yeah, and we're gonna pay all
I
that
don't
out
care.
to the
I want
winners
more money.
of the whole shit
I-
bag.
Want more money. I'm greedy. Hey, have you ever seen Wall Street? Gordon Gekko, greed is good.
You know what's the one argument that if you wanted to make, I could say, yeah, you know what, I get that.
What's that?
Is if you wanted to discourage the bottom feeders from picking up players. If you wanted the better teams to have better access
False.
to the waiver wire.
False.
I could take that.
False.
So, like, take,
If you don't
take
want
the
that,
bidding
then.
Every
out.
one of the bottom feeders said that they would pay the money. They'd
No,
pay.
they didn't.
Yes,
no,
they
they
did.
didn't.
Drew said that. Derek said it, and I said it. Who else do you need?
And I've said it.
Anyways. Okay,
saying.
you guys said it. Moving on.
Everybody said it. Everybody agrees. $1 buy-in.
Victory!
Don't
No need for
forget,
victory.
I am Lord Commish.
That
Something.
is a little Johnny Chase quote for everybody. Victory!
Oh yeah, there
Yikes.
you go.
Yikes, yikes, yikes. All right, so we're still 2 weeks away. Big week next week for cuts and everything. We'll talk about pro football pretty much next week. Aside from a little bit at the end today, we're going to hop into college football. Week 1, I think the one thing that the college football championship has done positively is really set up these first kind of non-conference matchups between elite teams. Not starting really here in Minnesota until 2023, but we have big games this weekend, such as Notre Dame, Michigan. I think Alabama has a pretty big game.
Is 2023? Is that when the Gophers are going to be elite?
2023 is when our schedule becomes Nebraska to start the year.
Is that when Nebraska becomes elite?
Yes.
Okay. Foreshadowing to elite teams.
I'm just saying that our schedule becomes a lot harder for the non-con because we
We're
don't
just
play
in year
Little
one,
Sisters
Matt.
of the Poor.
We're just in year
Wait a
1.
second. Isn't Nebraska in our division? Or isn't Nebraska in our conference?
Correct?
They are indeed.
That is
Oh,
correct.
so we start the year with a conference game.
Yes, sir. Prime
Oh.
time. And it's not going to be a Thursday night at 6 o'clock either. I guarantee that.
Yeah. Is it at Big Red or is it at? The
I
bank?
believe it's home.
At the bank. Wow.
Dave, I think another big game, if I saw, I can't remember the opponent. Auburn, number 6 Auburn versus number 9. Anybody Bueller?
Not
That
off
is
the top of
supposed
my
to be
head, but
happening this weekend
Yep.
as well. I'll have intern guy look that up. Hold on.
perfect. Well, we do have Gopher football starting tomorrow, 6 o'clock, like I said, against New Mexico State. One thing that came out today was maybe the biggest blunder of the year, and I don't understand how this shit can work. New Mexico State does not have their away uniforms yet for this season. So the Gophers will be
Really?
opening up in their brand new white Hyperlight uniforms. The white on white with a white helmet. It's going to be a hot look,
Wow. Sexy.
Yeah, it's going to be nice.
but kind of goofy that you got to start the season wearing your away whites.
Didn't New Mexico play already?
They
Wow.
played at home
Yeah.
against Wyoming and got their asses kicked.
Uh-huh.
They didn't get their first down until 1 minute and 52 seconds left in the first half.
Wow.
So,
The intern checked in. Auburn plays number 6 Washington.
Ooh, that's a big time.
That's a
big
2:30
time
game on ABC.
yeah, big Saturday for football.
Mm-hmm.
Highlighted with that night game with
Michigan,
Michigan,
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. So should be a great day for everybody to sit around and watch college football all day. I think Jeff's Florida State plays Virginia Tech to start. That's on Monday, and then I think there's a Sunday game this week too, right?
We got Miami LSU Sunday night. That's an 8:25 matchup. I think Alabama Louisville. That'll be a good matchup as well.
Yep, that'll be fun. That's
Yeah.
the ABC game.
It is. Yep. And then Michigan Notre Dame is the NBC night game.
Love it, freaking love it. We're back. Let's break down some things you might need to know about this year's Gopher football team. Obviously, we have PJ Fleck, year 1, in coming in here, feeling good. I think he's feeling good. I think camp went well. You're teaching these young guys, your guys, finally, kind of the roll the boat mentality. And it looked like these guys are having fun. They got to go to Jay-Z Beyonce. They practiced on the beach one day. They got to go to a splash pad. And then one thing that I really kind of like is the last night of camp, they have a camp out in TCF Bank Stadium. So they all got to sleep in tents. They set up video games on the Jumbotron. They got to wiffle ball games and stuff on the field. So it's really good team bonding and bringing the guys together to break camp.
Dave, can I get your thoughts on the newly appointed Zach Annexstad? What are your thoughts?
He's a walk-on true freshman. Got the nod. Looked kind of like an asshole on SportsCenter yesterday, but that'll get better. He, took over at IMG Academy last year. Beat out a couple of really good quarterbacks to do that.
Yeah, his backup at IMG is starting at Rutgers.
I believe he also beat out a Miami Hurricane recruit for the starting job as well.
He did. So
why did this guy not get recruited? Why is he walking on it?
He chose to walk on.
chose to walk on
His
at
dad,
DOE.
he had five or six Power 5 offers, and he walked on
Mankato
at.
West. Mankato West.
And so he is. His dad played here. His brother plays here. He wanted to come home, walk on, and earn a scholarship.
Really?
PJ probably wrote a pretty big check under the table to get him to come here.
I don't think we're into that. But
That kid's probably driving a Maserati right now.
nope, just really enjoying it. I mean, it's a big thing when you get Minnesota guys to come to Minnesota.
You got to keep your own recruits.
We've talked a lot about how hard it is, and I mean, really the extra stress that these kids get because of our professional media in that treats these college kids like they're the pros, and they're not afraid to write any story that they want or bash them. So I think that it's just a big thing to get him to come here, and it's just a start. He can throw the ball deep. I think that we'll probably limit him. We'll probably have 79, 80 plays of offense. If you get 10 possessions, we'll call it 8 possessions where we go 3 and out. So 72 plays. He's probably going to throw for 25 of them. I'd probably say the 10 are going to be over 15 yards. So I think it's going to be pretty fun to watch. I think our offense is going to open up. We have the old quarterback, Seth Green, converted over to a wide receiver. He's going to get some time. He's 6'4", 240, so he's going to be a beast. He's not afraid to go up and get the ball either. So that's going to be fun. Tyler Johnson, stud from last year. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets targeted 8, 9 times a game, and they work him into some, end-around stuff. It's going to be fun. We have 2 new tight ends that are getting some playing time. Connor Olson, offensive lineman. He redshirted as a freshman. He's from Monticello, Minnesota. So last year he was 240 pounds. He is now up to 300.
Damn.
So he attributes it to eating, basically drinking
Go mad.
a shit ton of
Go mad.
chocolate milk.
Yeah. Gallon
Yeah.
of milk
Nice.
a day.
Yeah. And then peanut butter sandwiches. He said it's 6, 7, 8 peanut butter sandwiches a day.
The bodybuilders do that shit.
Yeah. So
They bulk up on milk, and then they cut like crazy to cut all the fat out.
So it's going to be fun. I mean, we have a couple of guys who were granted some extra eligibility. So we have 2 transfers that came from the SEC that are going to see some time. So it's going to be fun. Like you read all over, kind of the storyline this year is that we're young. But, I think it's okay, and I think it's time that we get some of these young guys that can step up and play right away. And I think PJ will be able to lead them. A couple other notes.
Stat of the night, pigtailing off that. The Gophers have 113 players on the roster. 60 of those are either freshmen or redshirt freshmen, which is 53.1% of their roster.
Dang.
Yeah, that's just kind of bananas, and that's where everybody's going. But kind of a couple
They're
other
young.
fun stats.
Yeah, they're
John.
young.
Yeah, they're very young. I think it's worth a shot, though, and I just don't think that if we have one bad game down the stretch here that we need to get all over the top of them, and we can grow with them and do pretty well. The Gophers went for it 13 times on 4th down last season. They got a first down on 10 of those tries, which led the country. or was second in the country, only behind Alabama, who converted 83.3% of the time. One other huge stat from last year, and can be attributed to PJ Fleck, because we haven't seen this in a few years, is that the Gophers were ranked first in the nation last season in fewest penalties, 39 total. Fewest penalties per game, 3.25. Fewest penalty yards, 340. And fewest penalty yards per game, coincidentally, at 28.33. Minnesota combined for 49 fewer penalties in 2017 than the prior year, and the difference was penalized yards of 403 yards. That is a huge stat.
Mm-hmm.
You can keep it clean,
Discipline.
you're good. So, fun to see. Should be great. Zach Annisted's going to lead us to not only a victory tomorrow, but many down the road.
You know, I was listening to K-Fan the other day, and BJ Fleck was on there with Guardsy and Grimm. And he he implied, this is what he did. He said, well, you know, when I first started, the first year I was a bum. The second year I was coach of the year. And then the year after that I was a bum again. And the year after that was coach of the year. He said, last year we were bums. And so in my mind, he was kind of implying that he was maybe going to be coach of the year this year.
Could be sweet.
That was what he was inferring, whatever, in his statement. So
He's got some massive swag, man.
he does.
He gets it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
All right, well,
Exactly.
let's go around the horn here. We got New Mexico State at the Gophers. What's your prediction, John?
Well, if New Mexico State didn't get a first down until like the fourth quarter of their last game, I don't see it going any different for them this game. So I'm gonna. Do you want to score too?
Sure, just a differential.
Yeah, I think the Gophers go ahead, and this is basically like a preseason game for them or a scrimmage. They're probably going to put up, you know, if Annexsted's as good as he is, you know, we still have Rodney Smith, which he is awesome. I can't deny that. He's very talented. So I bet you they put up close to 30 points or more. Maybe it might be more than that, but I'm going to say they score at least 30 points, and this is an easy Gopher victory.
All right, Matt?
I'd probably go the other way. First game of the year, walk-on freshman at quarterback. Lots of young kids. They struggle to find their feet a little bit on offense, I think. The defense, you know, keeps the game in their hands throughout. But I think you come out of this thing feeling maybe a little bit questionable about the offense. Gophers get the win. I call it 17-3.
All right, Jeff?
Well, I think the potential absence of Shannon Brooks is something to make note of. It depends on if he's going to contribute to the running game or not. He's an integral part to this offense.
Was out for the season.
Oh, well,
So.
there you have it. So, I don't think
Could
the
make a play towards the end of the year to get back in.
I don't think the Gophers have ever lost to Mexico State. I don't think they do now. I think it's a pretty sizable victory. I'm going to go 24-7 Gophers.
All right. Well-
Stat of the night, the Gophers have lost to New Mexico State. The series is 1-1.
Oh.
Ouch.
Spanning over multiple years, though.
Well, yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Jeez, Dave. Could you drink the maroon and gold Kool-Aid
No, I
a little
mean,
more?
like,
Good God,
The last time we played them was forever ago.
Still 1-1 in the series. Just throwing that out there.
I know. But different teams, different types of football.
Okay, Dave.
All right. I'm going to go Gophers roll. I think it's going to be some pretty good scripted offense to start the game. Not a lot of reads at the line from the quarterback. I think we aired out a few times. I think we're going to score 34. They're going to get probably 10. They'll have it's going to be 21-3 at half. All right. Overall, let's go around the horn one more time on way too early predictions for who's going to win the national championship in college football.
Oh, jeez.
Matt's done zero research, so let's start with John.
Like, yeah. I've done zero as well.
All right, then we'll all just say Alabama because
yeah,
they're
yeah.
that's
I
what I was
mean,
pretty damn good.
I'm going
I
upset.
don't.
I'm going Clemson.
Yeah, Jeff is educated in college football.
There you go.
Yeah,
I'm picking
I
Clemson
think
in the upset. but
in the playoffs. I think it's gonna playoffs. It's definitely gonna be Clemson will be there. Alabama will be there. Another SEC team will be there. I don't
And
think
Wisconsin?
Ohio State's gonna get there.
Wisconsin.
It might be Wisconsin.
God, I hope it's not
and
Wisconsin.
It's
we
their
don't
year.
know what
Wisconsin's
Pac-12 team
stacked
might.
this
You know,
year.
who knows with USC, what's gonna happen out there. But I would say for sure, I'll say this: championship game, Clemson, Alabama. You write the rest.
You got it.
Will do. Just getting a live Snapchat. Avid listener, one of our few followers, is skipping the broadcast tonight to go to Hamilton.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
Stepping it up a
classy
little bit.
guy.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Art-
All right. Other stat of the night. Reactions from the last week's episode where we did a in-game draft analysis to help out. It was worked out in his favor. I think he's gonna do pretty well this season. So shout out to him.
Who are we talking about?
That was the first was Pete Larson.
Oh, yeah.
He
Yeah.
was drafting for his wife's team.
Oh, nice.
So we were helping out Anna Larson.
Mhm.
And then Rob Fondrick, follower, avid listener of the program,
Indeed.
not in the Busch League, may I add. He is he's at Hamilton tonight. Final shout out while we're still early in the episode goes to Busch League member Phil Bastron, who is starting his first podcast of his podcasting career for work at the University of Indiana Wesleyan, wherever he works.
Very cool.
Hold on. Fort Collins, Indiana Fort Collins?
Sure.
Is that a I don't know if that's a thing or not.
Fort
That
Wayne.
sounds right.
Fort Wayne. Yeah, Fort
Yeah.
Wayne. Yeah.
University of Indiana, Fort Wayne, ish. But good luck to him.
And
He we went through his setup and it's looking really great.
his setup is killer.
He did it. He did
Is it
all right.
really? Nice.
Yeah, he did well.
Maybe we can learn something from Phil.
Potentially.
Phil learned something from us. Let's be serious here.
Um,
Oh, good for you.
let's get into college football and everybody's favorite movie that they maybe should have been watching and maybe I'll watch tonight when I get home. Rudy, story of the underdog.
Mhm.
Maybe
Adam Hartman's nickname in high school.
Adam Hartman's life.
Can I say something? When Adam got married and they introduced the bridal party, the wedding party. I was so
Yes.
hoping that when he came in with his beautiful bride, that the Rudy music would start playing.
Yeah.
I was so hopeful. Like, how great would that be? This is the greatest triumph of his life. He has a girl that likes him
He's got
and wants to marry him.
Mike Grimm calling his wedding party, and you're not, and he needs Mike Grimm with Rudy
Rudy
music.
music.
Why didn't you just
Absolutely.
stand up and start slow clapping?
I should have. Why didn't I think of that?
Just
Oh my
put some
gosh.
gloves
Adam,
on and
let's
start
redo
slow
this.
clapping?
Let's renew your vows. Let's get Mike Grimm back in there, and let's get that Rudy music going. I mean, just think.
Yikes.
I probably would have started crying once the dun 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 dun. Oh my gosh, gives me chills every time. I would have started bawling like a baby, guaranteed.
Do you cry during that movie, John?
Almost every time. Almost. I get dust in the eyes.
Do you
I
think
start to
that?
sweat.
Do you think that's one of Vince Vaughn's best roles?
No, Wedding Crashers. That's the best one. Hands
Does-
down. But is a close second.
Which we wish him luck in rehab, by the way. Good luck, Vince.
Yes.
We love you.
Rehab.
Mm.
Rehab.
John, John, Matt, what are some of your other guys' favorite?
Matt, I'll let you
football
go
movies.
first. I have an actual list.
Are-
So
are-
I'm
are-
gonna break those. I'm gonna quickly break those down. So Matt, go first.
Okay, well, first thing that I have to say is that in terms of football media, Friday Night Lights, the TV show, takes the cake. It's not close.
Thank you.
Not close. But we're talking
I'm-
movies.
We're talking movies.
We're talking movies.
Yeah,
So
I'm pretty sure that when we were talking about Friday Night Lights, the show earlier, Matt got so aroused he had to relieve himself for a couple minutes because he
has to
loves
step
that
away.
show so
hey,
much.
with when you, John, when your daughter is born, you will gain a whole new appreciation for Coach Taylor.
I bet I will. I'm sure I'll get misty-eyed when I watch that show again.
Yeah,
So-
you can't not want to learn how to parent from Coach Taylor.
That's true.
So
I mean,
true.
I know what I'm going to get you for your anniversary gift. It's going to say, clear eyes, full hearts, Matt
Can't
trades dick gets hard because he loves that show so much.
I like it.
It's my favorite show of all time. Anyway,
Ever.
I know.
It's so good.
it is.
And
It's
now
amazing.
it's on Netflix.
It's amazing. Up and then Lost and then Game of Thrones. Anyways,
Those aren't football.
We should do that. We'll do the top another time. We'll do our top 10 favorite shows of all time.
right.
There you go.
Right.
Let's get back to movies.
Okay.
Football movies.
Football
because
movies.
It's fall.
Yep. We're gonna exclude Rudy because we already had the conversation. I'm gonna kick it off with Remember the Titans.
Great movie.
Can't go wrong with Denzel Washington, and what's his face that was in Scrubs, the running back. Anyways, I'm spacing on his name.
His
but
name's Petey.
Petey, yes, the running back, y'all. Fantastic movie.
Sunshine.
Left side, strong side.
That one, Gary Bertier. That one pulls the
Oh,
heartstrings,
yeah.
man. Too.
Oh yeah.
I'm so soft in my old age.
You are.
Can we rotate? I don't have to go again, do I?
No.
Okay.
Jeff?
Ooh, those are a couple good ones. I'm going to go kind of old school here, though. I'm going to go with Tom Cruise and All the Right Moves.
Oh, Jeff, great movie.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Great movie.
Speaking of someone blowing their load right
Yeah,
now.
no kidding.
Tom Cruise, Leah Thompson, Craig T. Nelson
Yes, sir.
in Pittsburgh, football town. What more could you want?
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. And then I got another old school one for you. It's called Junction Boys.
Junction Boys. Great,
Yeah.
great show.
Tom Berenger
Tom
as Bear
Berenger.
Bryant.
And then one more to add to the list is maybe you've heard of it, maybe you have not. The Program.
Okay.
I've not seen
Great
either
film.
of those movies.
Great film.
Great film.
Yep. Well, they're classics, so you should probably see them.
Well, I'm going to drop in here with a little Varsity Blues.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
She's
sir.
a tan.
10.
10.
Fucking 10.
I don't want your life.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the coming out party for the Vanderbeek.
True.
It's not. We play Bang Bell.
So we play golf. Me and the Mankato division plus Malinsky play golf once a week, and it never fails. We're walking down the fairway on 14 or whatever, and Malinsky will go, "Tonight we play Bangvale. Tonight we beat Bangvale," and this happens every week all summer long.
And
That's
you can't not.
that's so good.
No, it's
You
good, and,
cannot
and
laugh.
it's a running joke. At that, and if you want to win, put Booby in. Those are the two. They make weekly appearances on the golf course. I don't know why.
Love it.
Yeah, it's
I
great.
love it.
I love it. Next would be, I mean, this is low on my list, but Friday Night Lights, the movie.
Yeah.
I thought that was, it's okay. Not great, but still pretty good. Any Given Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
ho hum. I mean, John, you can take it away. I think you got a full.
I'm going to go with my top 10. This is my top 10 of all time. I did actually one and only times I've ever done research for this podcast, and that's not a joke.
Yeah.
I would like to do a couple of honorable mentions.
Okay.
Invincible, Mark Wahlberg
Oh, yeah.
playing
Oh, yeah. Good one.
Vince Papali.
Yeah.
Yep.
We Are Marshall, Matthew Fox, Matthew McConaughey, regarding the Marshall University tragedy. Of course, All the Right Moves, great film, so give props to Jeff on that. And the last one is actually Jerry Maguire. You had me at hello. So those are my honorable mentions. So number 10, Remember the Titans. Matt touched on it. Gary Bertier. What was it? The soul can't remember. But and then you got Sunshine.
Yeah.
Great film.
Yeah.
Just awesome.
Yeah,
I
that's
get
the baby goose.
the baby goose.
Yeah.
I get my eyes get dusty every time I watch that. So, number 9, Any Given Sunday, Al Pacino, Jim Brown, Lawrence Taylor, Willie Beeman, played by Jamie Foxx, Cameron Diaz. What a cast! If you want to get jacked up for a football game, an intramural game, listen to Al Pacino's 3-minute speech at the end of the movie. It'll get you all jacked up. Number 8, Draft Day, Kevin Costner.
Really?
Cleveland
Number
Browns
8 on your
GM.
list?
I like that one simply because when the NFL draft rolls around, I just love playing that the night before. And I've done it the last 2 to 3 years now. I think it's been out.
Why?
I don't know, something about it. I just love how fictional it is. Because let's be honest, nobody trades away their three first-round picks for 3 consecutive years, and then by the end of the movie, 2.5 hours later, gets all 3 of them back plus David Putney. There's no goddamn way in business NFL that would ever happen. So I just love that part of it. I like it. Number
Just heard it.
7.
It's been going on for like 5 minutes.
Number 7, Little Giants.
Oh,
The Ice
great
Box.
movie.
Yeah.
The Ice
You
Box,
play ball like a
man.
girl.
Valid point.
How awesome is the Ice Box? Like, she is like Lawrence Taylor, Mike Singletary, Dick Butkus all in one.
Wait,
She's
wait,
just
wait, wait, wait.
dominant.
Let's just go back to that one. How ridiculous is this dad that's having his 11-year-old kid just carry a fucking refrigerator out of a moving truck?
That's true.
Yeah,
Like, that dad
Spike
should be
plays
put in
football.
jail.
Yeah.
Spike plays football.
And let's not forget the greatest football play of all time, the annexation of Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You got to use a floppy disk
should
computer
almost
to
be
get
a
that.
That should be a
I wish
fantasy
the
football
ESPN
team
name thing was longer so I could write that.
Yeah.
All right, John, we'll let you get back into it here.
Okay, so what was I on? I think I was on number 7.
Yep.
Number 6, not really a football movie, but it has football in it, and that is The Last Boy Scout with Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans. Damon Wayans
Not
plays,
familiar.
Damon Wayans plays Jimmy Dix, ex-quarterback. There's a lot of scandal, drugs, rock and roll. I just like it, mostly because it's an action movie. It's got Bruce Willis in it. Number 5, The Blind Side, Michael Orr story. I get a little dusty-eyed, teary-eyed on that one too. Number 4, The Program. Joe Kane, Heisman Trophy.
Yep.
Who doesn't love that story? Where am I at? Number 3?
Yep.
Varsity Blues. John Moxon.
I want you to know that I am 18 and I have had sex with older women.
Tweeter and
Oh,
Tweeter.
how did we not
I totally
say
forget
Tweeter?
about Tweeter every time.
Yeah.
Oh
Tweeter End Zone Day.
gosh, just
Yeah,
such a
Tweeter
great
End Zone
movie.
Day, for
I
sure.
don't want Yola.
Looks down his pants.
but-
What the fuck is that?
Fire that fucking pigskin. Number 2, Rudy. Like I said before, just a great story. I get that one. My eyes start to sweat. Especially that the music for it is what does it. I think that's like one of the greatest scores in my opinion. Just that song or that whatever you want to call it. When that comes on, when he makes that tackle at the end of the game, it's just like, oh my gosh, I can't. I need the Kleenex. Somebody give me a box of Kleenex right now.
So good. All right, that
And
brings us to number 1.
Lastly, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of this one. Necessary Roughness. Scott Bakula, Sinbad. Takes place in West Texas, I believe.
Goldie
Decent.
Hawn too, right?
Ed, I can't remember the 2 actors, but they are in a lot of movies. recruit like 40-year-old Scott Bakula to come back and play quarterback for the Texas A&I Armadillos. And
Yes,
it's
sir.
just ridiculous, but I love it, especially the end. They're getting crushed by the number 1 team in Texas, and they somehow, Cinderella story, come back, throw the game-winning touchdown. Everybody goes crazy. Rob Schneider plays the announcer in the booth. It's pretty funny. So that's my top 10.
Beauty.
Nicely done.
I think we
very
did miss the replacements.
I was just thinking of that because, I mean,
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves, not a great movie, but it has Keanu Reeves, so.
A couple other ones I had on notes was The Longest Yard
There you go.
and Waterboy.
Oh, Waterboy. Yeah.
Okay.
What about the one, what's the, oh, wait, Longest Yard. Is that the one that was a remake with Sandler? Oh,
Yeah. It was originally Burt Reynolds,
Yep.
and then Sandler remade it.
Yep.
Had Nelly.
Oh,
Nelly,
yeah,
like,
Nelly.
is like a ridiculous running back
Yeah.
who like runs in socks.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Yikes.
So,
Right, well,
yep.
getting to that time of the episode again where John Thompson recaps the last night's episode of Hard Knocks. And it was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one. Lots of stuff happening.
I hate the fucking Eagles, man.
They played the Eagles. They got some scouting advice from the newly convicted possible felon Michael Kendricks on what to look for regarding tells with the Eagles. He says Foles really likes to throw the ball high, so it's all about timing. Calls Zach Ertz the best wide receiver on the team, and he emphasizes wide receiver because Zach Ertz does not like to block, and he just says get physical with him. And then also with a offensive lineman, one of their biggest ones, they said he just gave some insight on how to get him down on his game, basically, because he doesn't use his feet very well. So, a couple other notes. Todd Haley gets after Jarvis Landry about hustling. Kind of takes a couple digs at him. They get in a little altercation, and then he comes back and apologizes and just wants him to be a leader. So I think that the dust is settled on that. They go to, they have their preseason game. There's a little scare. Tyrod Taylor hurts his wrist, but ends up not being anything serious. But my MVP of the episode, definitely Baker Mayfield's impersonation of John Dorsey. If you haven't seen it, YouTube it. It is hilarious. He's just chomping on a huge piece of gum. Talks about how big of an opportunity is, the dedication it is to be a Cleveland Brown, and it's pretty damn funny. So those are my highlights of.
Hello, this is John Dorsey. How you doing, buddy boy? Playing in the National Football League is a blessing. It's a privilege. Not many people get to do it. You know what I mean, buddy boy? That's cool stuff, huh? Yeah. Oh, that's good stuff. It takes dedication. You know what else takes dedication? Being a Cleveland Brown. See, being a Cleveland Brown is way more than just playing football. It's about being an elf. It's about coming to work every day with your hard hat and your Air Dorseys and your sweater. And you strap on those shoes and you go to work. I do it every day. Huh. Don't be scared.
I
So
love
good.
Baker Mayfield. I hope he ends up being the greatest quarterback of all time.
Fun to watch. How about they have napping stations with like temporary dorms at their practice
I forgot
facility
about that.
that are just like you come into a room and there's like 10 beds and you just go to bed, take a nap
Yep.
during the day.
Sounds great.
Made famous by J.J. Watt in last year's with the Texans, where he had like a back closet that he moved in like a king-size mattress for him to take naps on. in a facility.
Very true. It's very true.
Mm-hmm. You gonna be
Yeah,
sad?
so it's good. It's going to be interesting now next week. Like I said, Michael Kendricks is in trouble for insider trading. I think there's been a couple other headlines I'm probably missing within the Browns organization, but next week's episode is going to be lit. Let's just put it that way.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be sad too because it's cut week. So some of those
True.
guys where you've grown a relationship over the last few weeks.
Brogy, man. Brogy is probably going to be gone. That's going to be sad.
All right, let's enough talking about the fucking Cleveland Browns, terrible football team. Let's shift it over to the hometown boys, the Minnesota Vikings. Kind of a ho-hum week for them. Other than today, we have a guy getting arrested. Intern Jeff, can you pull up maybe what happened there?
Yes, sir. Wide receiver Caleb Jones was arrested on felony theft.
Gotta love that.
He is currently being held in Dakota County Jail, which is in Hastings, Minnesota.
And this is a guy that's had some issues prior to this, hasn't he?
Yep.
And he's a practice squad guy.
Correct. So this might open the door for Brandon Zilstra to get on the practice squad.
Who was interviewed on the Power Trip this morning, by the way.
Heard it. Good interview.
Yeah, I heard it too.
Good guy.
He's a good guy. He's all right. He gives speeches around the country about overcoming adversity, being from a small town, working hard, making a name for yourself. Good dude. Other than that,
sounds like a lot of adversity there.
You just gave Adam Hartman a boner.
Oh yeah, we all knew that.
Yeah.
That is the stat of the day.
Spicer, Minnesota is a tough uprising.
I mean, he was in a ski show. He had to learn sports from us. It's tough.
His ski boat that his parents owned probably didn't even have an elevated tow on it.
No.
Oh, or it did it?
No, I don't think it did.
Oh, God, tough life.
I know.
Tough life.
It was an inboard, outboard. Not even full inboard. Crazy.
God. Terrible.
You guys are dicks.
I'm sorry. I just had to. I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, we grew up in Spicer,
fun,
John,
though.
so you're a New London kid.
Yeah.
We get it.
New London's John's from the other side of the tracks. He knows
True,
real hard times.
I'm from the poor side.
You're the only guy that didn't live on a lake.
I am.
Yikes, of our whole friend group.
And even the guys
Sad.
that didn't live on lakes still lived in big houses.
So tough.
I was Pony Boy, Soda Pop Curtis back in the day. Like barely had a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of.
Got molested by
Hey now,
Norm at the big store.
I've bottled that up. And we don't talk about that anymore.
Did you guys get a chance
buried
to see the Kirk Cousins NFL Films bit on Vikings.com about
Negative.
agency? That's pretty good. Recommend you guys check it out. It goes
Yeah,
through the
check it
whole-
out. It's really good.
the
No
whole
free
process
plugs.
of free agency and how he came to be a Minnesota Viking, passing up $30 million guaranteed a year by the New York Jets to come here. So it's pretty cool.
Hey, speaking of boners, did anybody see what happened to Dak Prescott last week?
Negative.
Oh, I may have heard, but
You saw. Don't lie.
I'll admit I had to check it out. I had to see what was happening.
Well, why don't you tell us what happened, John?
So Dak Prescott was trying to impress a chick with the size of his schlong. Sent a dick pic to her. Must have pissed her off, or she must have tried to blackmail him, and he wasn't biting. So she released it to the internet, and I'm gonna say I'm a little disappointed, Dak. I thought the cannon would be a little longer, and that dude needs to learn how to manscape. Let's just put it that way.
Busch is back.
I was disappointed. It made me feel good about myself.
I guess that's the only leverage, right? If you're trying to hold it against him. I mean,
Yeah.
if he's fully locked and loaded, then he's like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Let her rip.
Let her buck, baby.
Yeah.
Show the world what I got. He probably got like 100 DMs on Twitter.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
People just dying to just get a piece.
Yeah. Did not learn from Brett Favre, apparently.
No,
No.
see, that's just it. When you're a high-profile star, you can't be doing that. You gotta, yeah.
Well, why
don't
didn't
do
this
that.
chick like leverage it like Jen Sturger did, or whatever the fuck her name was? That. I mean, now she
Yeah.
works for ESPN.
Yeah, exactly. That chick didn't play it very well.
Eden Prairie masseuse turned.
Nope.
And this is
ESPN.
probably in it. She had her 2 minutes of fame, and now it's already it's already fizzled. It was just funny just to see that, like, God, stupid young people, don't be sending dick pics. Come on.
It's true.
All right, around the NFC North, we have Aaron Rodgers getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
Straight cash, homie. He is what I see, 134 million, 4 years. 80 of it's guaranteed by St. Patty's Day, 2019.
Damn.
The Packers are like, okay, fine, we'll give it to you, but you got to give us a little bit of time.
Yeah. Well, it'll keep him in a Packers uniform until his 20th season.
Mm-hmm.
They got to get the stakeholders to raise the funds to give him that.
Well,
give
we
him
got
that money. So
capital call, boys. We're selling more stock. Hop on
Get
board.
Who else
Gerby-
wants a
get
sheet of
Gerbschmidt
paper
out
for
there.
$400?
All right.
what else is happening?
Gerby probably
What else is
doesn't like
happening in
that.
the
It's diluting his shares.
Teddy Bridgewater to New Orleans.
Uh-huh.
Huge play for them to, maybe choose a successor starting this year for Drew Brees.
1-year
Right.
contract, though.
Drew, but, I mean, you got to keep him, check him out, see if he's your guy,
Right.
then sign him to long term.
That could make us look very bad if this Kirk Cousins deal goes south.
Yeah, well,
We'll be all right.
was what it was at the time.
Yeah.
Other than that,
I saw. Did I see that right? That the Packers sent Hundley to the Seahawks.
They did.
Does that mean Deshaun Kaiser is that much better than Hundley?
yes.
Could it be worse?
Yeah, guy got to play last
I
year.
thought he
Didn't go well.
was. I mean, I thought they both were bad, but
He threw like 9
Jeez.
touchdowns and 15 picks. Nothing impressive.
Take a
Yeah.
shot with the new guy. I mean, Deshaun Kaiser's shown that he's got, I mean,
He probably has more starting experience anyway.
true. But, I mean, looking into that, though, a little bit deeper, like, Deshaun Kaiser has a lot of the same attributes that Aaron Rodgers does. They're both pretty mobile guys, can throw the ball a mile. So I think that they're just kind of drawing some similarities, much like what they did with Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Groom them up a few years, and then when it's time, either utilize them for a trade or keep them and make them be the future.
Word.
Love it.
Well put.
hey,
Well-
can I get a break? Can I get a breaking news sounder? Wow, that was awesome.
Yeah, nicely done.
I've heard from Mr. Grieve,
Uh-oh.
and right now he's kind of taking a Switzerland stand. He did send me a
Yeah.
breakdown, but it's
Thank
too
you.
long. It's too long. I'm not gonna read it. But he's Switzerland right now.
Yeah,
He
see,
doesn't
That was a
wanna-
list
he
of
doesn't
this
wanna-
texting from
This is
Tim's
the
phone,
bullshit
He
that
doesn't-
I'm worried about is Dave does some backroom dealings and everyone's like, oh yeah, I say $1. This is what I'm worried about with Dave.
Nope.
Can we confirm that this was Tim and not Alyssa?
But in Dave's defense, he didn't say he agreed with you either. So
Correct.
Didn't you
There's
just say he
that.
was Team Switzerland? Isn't that me?
No. He's being neutral.
No, you douche.
Oh.
That means he's neutral.
Sorry.
Good
I thought you were
Lord,
man.
man.
referencing the fact that I lived there.
No.
Negative.
You're
Oh, wow.
you're Lord Commish.
Get on
I
the
will
same
address
page,
you as
man.
such.
Even I know that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
So the dolls have weighed in. That's good.
Yep, the dolls have weighed
They're
in.
no
He did give me a breakdown, but I'm just gonna, if he wants to correct me,
Yeah,
come
so
on the
it's-
podcast and correct me. He can. I
Holy
could
shit.
easily be twisting his words, but
Trevor Sapir has voted in favor of the dollar.
Mm.
whoa, breaking news sounder.
Ba-da-ba-doo, ba-da-ba-doo, ba-da-ba-doo.
6-3.
Yeah.
But you don't know, so you're still counting Tim Grieve.
Yes, I am.
He didn't vote.
No, that you can't. I have proof right here. Right
Me
here.
too.
It's on the cellular.
Grieve, don't be a
Sorry,
douche.
I'm not sorry.
It's okay. Jeff didn't vote either.
Yeah, but Jeff obviously is on my side since he spends most money on transactions.
I don't know.
Touche.
He
Obviously.
also probably would feel the backside of it if we would give that money back to pay it back into the league.
What?
If still the same argument, if you pay money in to win and you win it back, it's still a good investment.
Yeah.
Still a good
Yeah, but
investment.
if you don't make him pay, he's just getting his own money back.
And it
Yeah.
probably a championship of some sort.
Yeah, but that doesn't
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that him
'Cause then
having
he'll
to pay
win-
more money to get there validates him paying more money to get his own money back.
God, I can't wait for spring meetings. This
Me
is-
too. This is gonna be so good.
I hope at the end of the day we need to hug it out because at one point we're gonna be insulting each other so bad we're gonna want to kill each
It
other.
might get violent.
It's
Just
gonna be
know
fun.
that I do really like you guys. You're
This
like
is
my
this
brothers.
is this is great. But quote: as much as I hate agreeing with Train, I'm 100% behind him on this.
But he read
But
he
he
read
read it
your,
wrong, and he. Oh my God! I'm not
Your
gonna
argument
bring
wrong.
his laundry into the podcast right now. We'll discuss it off air.
It's
'cause I
not
don't
his
wanna
fault that he's
misquote
a
him.
little slow.
I think Tim texted Train and Alyssa texted Dave.
Maybe that's what it was.
I actually
I'm
understand
calling
what
espionage. I'm
the,
calling
the
espionage.
owner who actually read what Dave was trying to say texted him, and the guy who spent $91 in 3 minutes texted Matt. And
Oh, that's great.
And I quote, "Yeah, I just reread that. You're right." Little quote from the Griefster.
Yeah, sounds like bullshit to me.
spring
Nope.
meetings, man, this is gonna be fun. Can't wait. It's gonna be like a Royal Rumble bloodbath.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be pretty well one-sided.
Matt might break a chair over Dave's back.
Cool.
Cool story, bro.
All right. Well, I think that kind of brings us to the end. Good, kind of long episode, but we got over a lot of topics. We're still kind of in
Right.
that preseason mode. We're going to clean it up once fantasy football starts. Did a draft over email over the last 44 hours. It was terrible.
Yeah, that's not good.
We were passing around a shared spreadsheet,
Mm.
and it's just a regular snake draft, and it was not as fun.
No.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Like we said last week. What is a snake draft? Who does that anymore?
I don't know if I could go back.
No.
A work league that is half
Mm.
guys and half girls.
Ah, gotcha.
Hashtag auto draft.
Oh, God.
Hashtag it's been an in-person draft forever, which sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So what are some before we go? What are some of our teasers for next week for the listening audience? I know we got Vikings football.
Vikings
to talk.
cut list, big time. I think there's going to be some free agents that are on people's teams right now getting cut.
Right.
We'll look at that next week. We're going to look at week 1 matchups because we have football starting that Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
From there, we're going to move into kind of some divisional alignments, looking at some schedules, getting some picks out for, who we really think is going to win the division. I think lineups are really going to take shape in the next few days, so there'll be plenty of transactions on the wire. And once we get past that, we're gonna get into some of John's favorite TV shows of all time.
Mm.
Ooh, I like it. I'll start doing my homework. God, this is
Alright.
gonna be awesome.
Something to think
do
about
they
at
have
work.
to be of a certain rating, like nothing over R or PG, or is it could it be anything? I'm just asking for a friend.
It's whatever you need to.
Okay,
I mean,
good to know.
R.I.P. Real Sex because ESPN dropped it today,
Oh, really?
and Taxi Cab Confessions.
Mm.
See, yeah. I'll keep it decent for the listeners. We won't go too in depth.
Perfect. Well, we will have John have fun at work tonight. Boys,
Thank you.
get excited. Football is back tomorrow. Hang your stockings with care, and get those jerseys ready. We'll see you next week. We love you guys.
Get you chili hot. Bye. That was fun, boys. That was a good episode. Can anybody hear me?